Hey everyone, well we're back again. Cats are all gone. I'm going to give it another hoopla here and see what happens. All right, I've got another video here that I want to do, and I got it marked on my page here. Do this one, and somebody has asked me to do this, and I've touched on this before, and they wanted me to do a video on the event. All right. What I've had to do here is I actually had to sit down and think about this because I think most of you know my my prognostication, if you will, on the event. All right, and the event, in my opinion, I've already put it up on another video, was the most important event on the planet. All right, and that was the activation of the heart center chakra, which is the gift that never stops giving. And that's happened back in, I don't know, 85, 86, somewhere. Somebody always corrects me because I always get the date wrong. I don't care about the date it happened. I just know that the event has already happened. And that, to me, that's the only thing that's important. All other people get really stickly for details and dates and months and time factors. I don't give a shit about it, but it's important to other people, so they like to do that. And that's okay with me. I don't mind. But having thought about it and taken a look at it again, I had to sit down and I actually had to add to that event some other events, if you will, for me, for me, and I would imagine for quite a few others that they would think would be important. All right. And what I've done is I've kind of wrote them down in order of sequence as to how they've happened. And I'd like to touch upon them a little bit in this video, and I'm not going to make them too long. So the first one, as I've already mentioned, is the heart center awakening, which happened whenever. All right. And during the course of the heart center awakening, what's happened is, as you already know, everyone had the rug pulled out from under them. 9 times out of 10, it usually involves another person to come in some form or fashion, a twin flame is only to hoo ha ha hoo or ha ma ma ma, whatever you want to call it, came in and pushed the buttons, and your marriage fell apart, your career was no longer suitable to you, the food you ate couldn't eat anymore, your body wasn't doing what you wanted it to do, you had this big burning thing going on in the middle of your chest, the world was going to shit and your life was going down the tube with it, and well, poor me and all that kind of stuff. And then finally you realize you were going through a process. And once you went through the process and you noticed something happened, and these things happened to you after the initial heart center awakening, all right? And they go just about in this order, because what I've done is I kind of spent a little time kind of going back and taking a look at. And one of the things that I know that I'm extremely good at is the process of the spiritual awakening. And I'm also very, very good at explaining the twin flame connection and the process thereof that goes along with it. All right. And this all comes into play together with the event. All right. So there's nothing that's happening here and all of this stuff that's going on the planet now that is by coincidence. All right. If you stop and take a look at it, and a lot of people I'm finding don't have no vision. All they can do is they can see only, and this includes just about the major portion of the spiritual community, no offense intended, but you don't see very well. You have no vision, most of you. All you see is a little circumference or a little 50-foot radius, all right, around you. And anything that's in there that is in your circumference is all you want to do. That's all you want to know. And that's all you want to feel. And in most cases, it involves another person. However, during the course of this awakening, some people are beginning to broaden beyond their 50-foot circle. All right? And I've noticed this with the generations coming up too, all right? The younger generations. They don't give a rat's ass, as a general rule, about what's going on in a lot of cases other than the 50-foot circle that they're in. And this actually extends right into when they become older adults. Now, I'm not saying all of them, I'm just saying a good proportion of them. And this is our society as it's unfolding. So after this heart center awakening, the next thing that comes into play is a very important event. And that is, after all of the unraveling of your life, the emotion you went through, okay, the depression and sadness and all of the rest of it, the next thing that takes place is a stage of personality development. And the personality development takes place when this happens, when your belief systems, ideologies, and philosophies, who you thought you were, your identity, and everything else that you ever believed in, suddenly you're questioning it all. And you're actually dropping some of your old belief system. This is a very important stage, all right? Because in order to continue to grow and evolve and develop higher states of consciousness, and, I might add, higher stages of creativity, expressing in three-dimensional reality, you have to go through this. And this is a very important stage and phase, and it is a very important event. And what I'm finding at this particular point is there is a lot of people in the spiritual community who are getting locked in, as it were, to certain belief systems, ideologies, and philosophies. And I'm not necessarily just speaking about the twin flame community here. What I've been doing lately is I've been going around and taking a look at other groups, ascension groups and Kundalini groups and angel groups and ascended master groups. There's lots of them around. And I'm finding the same phenomena. They're all getting locked in to these rigid belief systems, all right? And what they're doing is they're getting the idea that there's some kind of process going on, but they don't want to let go of their old belief systems and their old ideologies and philosophy. So I see there's a gathering taking place. And that gathering is the gathering of those out there, and they're putting them into these cloistered little groups, all right? And they're actually redoing and rehashing and rebuilding and reconstituting all of these belief systems and solidifying them, all right? Now, some would say, well, you know what? This is their thing, and sooner or later, we're all going to get saved. I don't know where that shit came from, all right? But when I look around the planet these days and I see some of the stuff that people are doing, this everybody's going to get saved shit just doesn't cut it with me anymore, all right? I think at this point, and I'm sure there's going to be other people who agree with me, that a lot of people on this planet have been sent a wake-up call. And I think a lot of people are going to learn the hard way it's survival of the fittest in the world of consciousness and going into the higher dimensions of creativity while you manifest here in three-dimensional reality. I truly do. This pussyfoot, candy-ass thing, all right, that everybody's going to get saved. No one's going to find themselves in a compromised position is the biggest pile of spiritual horse shit that I've ever heard. And they're keeping people in this loop in a lot of these groups by just reinforcing a lot of these belief systems. So what's going to happen, I might add, with this personality development is this. Most of you know that when someone has, and I think you'll understand it this way, when someone has a trauma and they've had something done to them, all right, and it could have been done years ago. And what I'm seeing now is I'm seeing people who are literally dying of heart disease, cancer, all kinds of other diseases because of traumas, blockages, impediments, belief systems that have been put into their consciousness years ago. And the same process applies to these people in these spiritual groups. Here's the deal here. The energies that I'm talking about, and I mentioned in a previous video, I talked about the 12 chakra system. That is being templated and gifted to everyone. Also, what's taking place is the meridian system that I've talked about is now becoming active. And a lot of you are experiencing physical symptoms and a lot of discomfort as this meridian system opens, because it accesses and gives you access to energy you've not had access before. So to say to someone, well, I can always come back and do it again, and everybody's going to be saved, I think some of you need to start reassessing that belief system. All right? Because as this, and I'm not trying to create fear here in anybody, I'm just trying to get you to take a look, some of you, at what you may be involved with and the belief systems you may be carrying with you. Because the more rigid your belief system is and the louder you are prepared to defend it, the more you are aggravating the evolutionary process within your embodiment, the 12 chakra system, the meridian system, and you are actually creating for yourself at an etheric level core embedded belief system templates by hanging on to these old things and not opening your mind, as it were, to the changes in your personality that are necessary to get you to the higher states of consciousness in a state of balance and in an equilibrium state in your body physical that can maintain that higher state of consciousness. So in other words, the gift is going to keep giving, but are you going to be in the right frame of mind, the open mind that is necessary to receive it? Or are you going to sit on the fence post with a picket stuck up your ass and continue on in the same pathway that you are? I don't know about you, but have you ever tried sitting on a picket fence? It will definitely get your attention very, very quickly, sitting on a picket fence. Got you on that one, eh? Sometimes you must wonder where I get all these sayings from. I don't know either. They just come, all right? I think I must have been a country boy in a past life or something like that, or whatever you call it these days, past life, forward life, whatever. But they just float right in. They all seem to come at the right time. But what I'm saying to you is the changes in personality are essential to the development of consciousness. And let's look at it this way, all right? It's kind of funny, you know, that we're at a point now where the evolutionary process is asking us correction, telling us, showing us, doing to us, as the Kundalini fires become more and more intense. Why are they becoming more and more intense for a lot of people? They're becoming more and more intense when it's necessary to eliminate something within the embodiments that needs to be done. In fact, the Kundalini energy should be smooth. It should flow through the body in a nice, amenable fashion. If you're having very intense Kundalini experiences now, and if you've been going through your spiritual awakening for years, you need to take a look. Because all of the etheric channels and all of the energetic templates within your embodiments should be, at this particular point, open, and the ebb and flow should be smooth and readily moving. You shouldn't be feeling that much discomfort at this point in spiritual awakening. You really shouldn't. So take a look at your personality. The personality development is next to heart-centered development. So, now, the next event after that, and this pretty much happens in sequence with some variation for some people, is the templating of the 12 chakra system. And in a previous video, I said that I did mine by that silhouette body that I said was floating over top of me, and it was trying to make a link, and of course I was fighting it, all right? But that's not happening to everybody else, all right? Let me put it to you this way. I don't want to sound as though, I'm gonna say it anyway. There have been a few people that have come into this world who have done the shit work, all right? And some of them have to be like guinea pigs, and that's what I feel has happened to me. You know, I'm just a little guy. I'm only 5'8", and I only weigh about 125 pounds. But I'll tell you, I'm one tough son of a bitch when it comes to spiritual stuff and the rest of it that goes on in the body and the evolutionary process. Because I've gone through some experiences that some of you will never have to go through. Because myself and others like me have done it for you in that particular situation. I'm not looking for a pat on the back. I'm just saying to you, you don't have to go through. It should be easier. The spiritual path right now shouldn't be difficult. It should be easy, relatively easy for most people. So what's the problem? The problem is people are still locked up in these old archaic belief systems in regards to what's going on. So the 12 chakra system comes into play. It comes in like a silhouette body. Now, the way it comes in is it will usually enter in to the individual in question through the dream state or in a meditative state, and it usually will come from the top down, not the way it did with me, all right? So when it comes from the top down, initially as it comes in, it's very disorienting for the person at an emotional level. Because what happens is, as soon as possible, the 12 chakra system begins to integrate, assimilate the 7 chakra system, and retemplate the location of the 12 chakra system throughout the body physical of the individual. What happens after that is this, all right? There is one chakra in between the throat and the heart. It's called the Dimensional Chakra. It's a brand new chakra. We've never had it before. We've never had it before. It's the Dimensional Chakra. And it is also directly connected to the immune system in the physical body, all right? Wherever there's a chakra, it's also connected with some system in the body correspondingly, okay? So you need to understand that. So there's going to be symptoms as this templated 12 chakra system starts to activate. Here's the deal, is when you have a development like coming in with the 12 chakra system, the body physical has to adapt to the incoming event. And I see many people are asking questions like, well, why is my body not doing what it used to do? I mean, I'm only 35, I'm only 40, I don't have the stamina anymore, I can't exercise the way I want. I mean, I can't even go to bed and screw now for 4 hours at a time. I can only screw now for 10 or 15 minutes. And they get all upset about it. If you don't know what the word screw means, I mean hind wiener, all right? You can't do that. Or you've lost interest in doing it altogether. What's wrong with me? Why is it everybody thinks there's something wrong with you? When the 12 chakra system comes in, the sexual energies can be misaligned and way out of proportion for an extended period of time, all right? The reason being is the dimensional chakra activating up here in the 12 chakra system, from that point can begin to catapult the individual into the etheric dimensions or the higher planes of existence, and you start experiencing, some of you call it astral sex, all right? It's not astral sex. You're not going into the astral planes and having sex with entities and beings that are dead, all right? You are going into the etheric planes in the higher dimension, and you're having connections with beings that are actually trying to bring your sexual energy, which is manifesting in three-dimensional reality, and give you an appropriate template to balance the sexual energy, which is nothing more than creative energy. But because we're three-dimensional and we're so used to copulating on this planet, all right? I mean, everything in this planet is about sex. I mean, you go up on Facebook and you can see some nerd or some turd, up there, and all they want to do is talk about sex, or they want to display themselves and promote some kind of silly joke or humorous about sex. That's all it is. In reality, again, as I mentioned before, what happens in the etheric planes and the higher dimensions when it comes to sensuality and sexuality is far superior to the hump and bump and play hide the wiener here. And a lot of you are fully aware of that. But again, there are many that want to hang on to this old thing, and they don't know anything else, so they think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I can assure you there's much better out there, and up there, and in there, and over there. All right? Ooh, oh, that's scary, Bill. Oh, I'm not ready for that. You're right, you're not ready for it, most of you. Okay? We got a lot of people on this planet still suffering from groin consciousness. And then we got a lot of guys on the planet who are still dickheads. Literally. They'll wake up sooner or later, as they said. We're all going to get saved. Yeah, right. My arse is a star, too. Okay, anyway, moving right along. The next thing that happens after that, the 12 chakra system template, is my favorite one. The dissension of the 12 sheath bodies. Now, I must admit at this particular point, I'm aware of the 12 sheath bodies. I am well aware that they are directly in conjunction with the 12 chakra system. And I am also aware that I have not got a complete dossier or manual, if you will, on all of the information. But I will share with you what I have to now, with the idea that I will be giving more later, and then I can turn around and contradict myself or what I've said on this video, because I'll do it later on another one. And someone will say, well, Mel, you contradicted yourself. And I'll say, yes, I did. You caught me. You caught me contradicting myself. Oh, give me 2 demerits. Don't you know? So anyways, the 12 sheath bodies. Now, I don't want to get too technical here. The 12 sheath bodies represent, if you want, the way to put, this is really hard to put into words. It's really hard because we're talking about consciousness, and we're talking about expressions of consciousness that we're trying to put into a word that's graspable. Oh, I like that word, graspable, in 3-dimensional reality, which is extremely, extremely difficult to do. So I'll do it this way. If you can imagine the 12 sheath bodies as being aspects of your personality. Now, we're talking about the personality that you have developed to now. And the aspects of your personality that have changed and evolved will contain something along this line. It will contain integrity, authenticity, sincerity, compassion, honesty, all of the finer characteristics of a personality. To move away from becoming a predator race, because that's what we are. We are a predator race, literally. I don't care how nice you think you are, we are a predator race. We're constantly preying on everyone and everyone around us, the greatest majority. And that's not changed. Even in our society, here in Canada, and we're the civilized countries, we're still preying on each other. Phone companies do it, governments do it, stores do it, your neighbor does it. Everybody's hustling everybody, more or less. All right? That's going to change, or we're not going to survive as a species. Look, take a look at our ocean, the next big sewage dump. Our birds and animals are disappearing at a rapid rate. But we got more people coming, and they all want to live the American dream. I'm not really interested in having guns, But everybody wants the American dream. The American dream doesn't exist. It's an illusion. What is happening is this. The people on this planet are bored. I watch people commenting on Facebook all the time. Oh, what's the next great horror movie? I need to get the shit scared out of me. The last one I saw was boring. The next great exciting thing on this planet is the evolution of consciousness and moving into the higher dimensions. Not some stupid entertainment commodity that tickles your fancy for 10 or 15 minutes, or some love movie that turns your boat and croak for a few minutes. The most exciting thing on this planet is the evolution of consciousness, and yours in particular, which is not boring at any moment of time in any way. So the sheath bodies will allow you, as they come together in conjunction with the chakra system, because you have integrated those aspects of personality through the changes in your belief systems and who you are and identify as a person for yourself, will allow you to go into the higher dimensions. Let me put it this way. If you think we as a species are going to be allowed to move into universal connections with other beings and entities in other dimensions and planetary bodies, the universe is full of life. What we observe and sense here in a three-dimensional reality is only one plane of existence. The rest of it is teeming with life. And it's all more evolved than we are. And if you think for one moment we're going to be allowed to mingle and connect and contact with other beings in dimensions of higher states of consciousness in the present state of consciousness that we are, because on this planet we have a monopoly on stupidity, it's not going to happen. So we're going through this process of evolution so that we can evolve to the point where we can go out in consciousness where we're not considered dangerous. Not only are we dangerous to what's out there, do you know how dangerous we are to each other? Look what we do to each other. Look at it. Take a look at what we do to each other. Get some vision. Take a look around you. And then get serious about your spiritual awakening. Get serious about what I'm saying. Get serious about studying the shit that I'm talking about here. And get informed and get aware. And get what's happening within you. And get rid of these stupid, silly belief systems that you no longer require, because you can create new ones. You can create new ones, here's this part, through the 12 chakra system, through the 12 sheath bodies, which will emanate and create for you a whole new identity, a whole new personality, a whole new way of being, a whole new way of being creative, a whole new way of expressing, a whole new way of loving, and sexuality that most of you can't even imagine at this point. It's all waiting for you. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. So that's what the 12 sheath bodies can do. Not to mention, each one of these sheath bodies connected to the appropriate chakra has a particular or distinct vibration. And that particular vibration, if you will allow you, as you develop in the personality, to be able to travel, to move toward the appropriate dimensional connection of that particular sheath body and chakra as your personality development grows and evolves. This is not rocket science. I'm not a scientist. I'm no smarter than anybody else who's watching this YouTube video. I'm just an average person. I just got this curiosity within me, this insatiable drive for knowledge, this insatiable drive for experience, this insatiable drive to know. And the more I know, you would believe how stupid I think I am. I'm so excited for the entertainment I get in the world of consciousness. I mean, shit, it's even got Netflix beat. Don't you know? So, there you have the 12 sheath bodies, and they're expressing. Now, I also have to mention that at this particular point, when those bodies descend, again, they will not come all at once. They will come as a dissension, usually down from above, entering into the physical body, and you will feel it as a layer of light or a layer of energy. It will initially hook up with potentially the 12 chakra system that has been most developed at that particular point of time. And immediately as the 1, 2, or 3 of them come in, it will start a process of change within the molecular and cellular structure of your body so that you have time to adapt. Now, this is important here, peeps, okay? The physical body is your vehicle of expression. But in order for you to express in these higher dimensions with this integrated personality that you have, you're going to gain more in the higher states of consciousness, but you're going to lose some awareness in physical reality. Now, what I mean by that, by lose, is you're not going to be able to do the things that you used to be able to do. You're not going to be able to eat the food you used to eat. You're not going to be comfortable in an environment that is not conducive to your well-being and your continued evolution as you go along. All right? Now, I want to ask you a question, everyone that's out there. I just put all this information up here for you about all of these events that are happening and are happening strategically in your life. Doesn't this excite you? Don't you feel as though that this is the gifts and the gifts that keep on giving? Isn't this something worth paying attention to? Isn't this something worth telling your friends about? Isn't this something worth you doing and understanding, taking the time for? Isn't this worth taking a look around you, taking a look what's going on, and knowing that whomever and wherever you are, the more successful you become at becoming you, this new multidimensional being, gifted with heart center awakening, personality development, 12 chakra system templating, 12 sheath bodies coming in. And I forgot one, and I just mentioned it, and I'm going to mention it again, which I forgot, then I'm going to end this video. Not to mention the meridian system. And again, I am not talking about the Chinese meridian system in the physical body. I'm talking about the meridian system in the etheric body, which is conducive to supplying and giving you access not to new energy, but energy that we've lost access to thousands of years ago, which has been dormant and is now becoming active. And as the personality develops, as the gift and the events keep unfolding before you, this meridian system becomes active and you have access to energy which can be considered supplementation energetically given to you for the process of nurturing, feeding all of that whole sequence of events that is happening to you right now. Now, I don't care what anybody says. When I listen to myself talking about this, man, I get excited. This is worth something. This is something. This is the event and the events to supersede all events. All that crap and shit they're talking about this new wave and that new wave. You know, and Mercury is up Uranus and all of that planetary lineup shit. Hey, that's all good. But this is where it's at. This is what matters. This is what counts. You know, there's an expression on this planet, and I'm going to kind of stick it to everybody right now. It's said in the spiritual community that all of the knowledge, all of the knowing, and everything that you want is within you. That's what I've just been talking about. Now get off your ass, get inside yourself, do it.